You're listening to the Screenmen Society Podcast, where nothing on screen will ever go unseen. Here's your host, Jack Clayton.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Screenmen Society Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jack Clayton. Today, we continue with our first ever tournament here on the podcast to determine the best director. And today's matches may be harder than the last one. Just looking at the bracket, I don't know. That's up to us. But first, let's go ahead and get into who we've got with us today. First up, here's the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Burke.
Hey guys, you know what's going on.
Next up, it's the future YouTube sensation himself, John Spurgeon.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
You haven't been streaming much lately, have you?
No, Ninja from Fortnite told me that I needed to stop her. He was going to kiss my mother. And
So first on the list we have John Spurgeon versus Abel. Who's a better director? I don't know.
yeah, Abel, what an asshole for kicking my boy Wes out.
Dude, I fucking hate
I
him.
blame him.
Wait,
I blame
what?
him for
Wes
Anderson going out. He probably tried to pick James Wan over whoever the one seed was. Who was that?
Hitchcock.
He probably tried to pick James Wan
He
over
did try to pick.
That's such did Hitchcock win?
Yeah.
Oh my, I would have been so mad if James Wan, the guy who made the
Wan.
Conjuring movie.
It's James Wan, and The Conjuring is not a bad movie.
Okay, it's a horror movie. They're all bad. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, anyway, if you missed the first round of the podcast, go check that out on SoundCloud. Real quick, I want to let you guys know that we are now tracking the tournament on our website. All you got to do is head on over to www.thesocietyofscreenmen.com, and there's a spot on the menu for the Best Director tournament, so go ahead and check that out. You can also check out the tournament by liking our Facebook page or following us on Twitter at Screenmen SOC. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into the matches. First up, this may be seen as a classic 1 seed versus 16 seed, maybe not. Depends on how you think of one of the directors.
1 seed versus 8 seed.
Whatever, you get the point.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's Christopher Nolan versus M. Night Shyamalan.
Obviously, Christopher
It's
Nolan
obviously
being
Chris
the one
Nolan.
seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and obviously Christopher Nolan wins this because M. Night Shyamalan had the perfect setup
He really did.
for the perfect series, and then he came out. What, Glass? Oh my gosh.
Glass is good.
Okay, no, Glass is
Sixth
the good one. What was the one he just made that was just like the finish? It was Glass.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Glass.
He finished his he made this really good series for himself, and then he comes out with Glass and is like, yeah, it was good, but I can ruin it. I'm M. Night Shyamalan.
Glass is good. I liked Glass when I saw it. Unbreakable is probably my favorite M. Night movie. I think it's a really good one. He's got a solid repertoire of movies. He's got Sixth Sense. He's got Unbreakable. He's got Split. The Village is good. Signs is good. He's got a solid list of movies. The problem is he just so happens to have some of the worst movies of all time on that list as well.
Every good movie he has arguably a worse,
That's
a
true.
bad movie.
It's like he gets a
That's
plus
very true.
6 and then a minus 10.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's like when you get a B on a test and then you get an F on the next 3 tests.
Yes.
It's like, okay, yeah, you once in a while you throw crap together that actually works, but it's like an abstract artist. Like sometimes he just gets lucky enough to make something that looks good.
Yeah. It's like 1 step forward, 4 steps back.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
he's got some good stuff, but I wouldn't even go as far to say his good stuff is purposeful. I think it's an accidental good stuff.
Sure. And then meanwhile, you've got Nolan, where even at his worst, which I think is The Dark Knight Rises, you still have a really solid movie.
Yeah, definitely. And like Dunkirk just came out, and that was a real banger.
He always just finds a way to one-up himself.
Yeah,
I think. And there's no way that he's not moving on from this. We can all agree on that. Nolan is moving on, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to take away from the fact that M. Night has had some solid...
I don't think M. Night wins any matchup in this tournament, though. Like, I just can't...
Even over Michael Bay.
I would think that would be a close match. I would still say, okay, M. Night would win over Michael Bay, but I think he is the ultimate 16 seed or 8 seed.
Oh, sure.
He holds that spot well. He's probably the second worst director in this bracket, but he's the worst one that we put in here as a serious contender.
Sure, because we made it very clear in the first episode, and I want to keep that going on this one, that none of these directors that we have on this list are terrible, I'd say, because every director that we've had, well, hear me, Kevin, stop me this. Every director that we've had on this list, and we said this in the last one too, when we had Michael Bay and George Lucas, is that every director...
George Lucas
George Lucas went out, by the way.
Oh, that's rough.
But anyway, we all said that we didn't hate any of these directors. We all agreed that these directors have all brought something really important to the table, and I want that to continue on as we go into this second half of the first round. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so for the losers bracket, can I suggest something real fast?
Go for it.
Okay, so I say we like substitute some of the losers that like suck, as in like George Lucas, and replace them with like people like, I don't know, like, you know.
I wouldn't say George
Inarutu.
Lucas sucks. He's made 3 great movies and 3 bad movies. He doesn't have enough of a repertoire to say he sucks, I think, but he has 3 of like the most classic movies of all time, so I wouldn't take him out.
But regardless though, I'll take that under consideration.
Right, because there's some directors that I realize that we left off this
which
list.
sucks, yeah.
You know, that
really sucks. But anyway, this is a no contest. Nolan moves on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Nolan moves on because M. Night Shyamalan sucks. Okay, we're going on to the next one. Woohoo!
Next up, like many of our matches, these are 2 entirely different directors with 2 entirely different styles. It's Orson Welles versus Guillermo del Toro.
That's a pretty easy pick for me.
Wow.
For me, kind of as well, just because I'm going with del Toro, just because for me, Orson Welles, I only know him from Citizen Kane.
That's what everybody knows him from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone else is like, oh, I love all 10, like, you know, these movies that he's, you know, that he directed, like, I'm just like, nah, you don't, you know.
But
like,
I don't want, again, like Shyamalan, I don't want to take away from Wells because Citizen Kane, timeless movie. It's a really good movie, I think. Even in today's setting, I think it has a lot of rewatchability because, in a way, you can still kind of relate it to today's times. And the sense of like journalism and big business and whatnot. But that's just my opinion. But as for this tournament, I gotta go with Del Toro. He's just made so many. He's just made too many classics, in my opinion.
Del Toro is just, he specializes in like these fantastical sort of surreal, you know, dreamland type movies, you know, like Pan's Labyrinth and, you know, the Hellboy movies are like comic book movies, you know, so those are superhero type movies.
In a way.
He's dipped his, you know, he's gone in there, but they're awfully similar in like style, I would say.
But he also did Pacific Rim, the first Pacific Rim.
I know, and that's kind of,
which is a fun movie.
It's sort of like a big, I don't know if I would call it a superhero one, but it's sort of like a sci-fi.
I would say that Pacific Rim was like a really big box office movie that was kind of not very good. I compare it a lot in my mind to Transformers.
Moments.
I think it's got cool moments. It's got cool moments, but it's just like the plot is thin.
I didn't love it. Yeah.
You know, and honestly, I pick Orson Welles because my biggest detractor from Guillermo del Toro is I don't see, like, his writing is good, but I don't see a ton of uniqueness in his directing. Like, I feel like he's more of a unique writer than a director.
You have a good point. All his movies are sort of like with Crimson Peak and everything, like comparing a movie like Crimson Peak, right? It's a horror movie and stuff,
and that the one
to like Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak. It's one with Alice in Wonderland chick, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Yeah. Movie that could have been good but wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think I don't like. Well, he had one sort of movie that I think it stands out. Well, besides Shape of Water, which, you know, I think was kind of overrated.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Pan's Labyrinth, like the
Labyrinth,
visuals in that movie are really, you know, surreal, like, especially for the time. You know, when did it come out? 2003 or something like that.
2003, 2004. Yeah.
It came out a while ago. It still holds up. You know, it's a really good movie.
Every time the fawn was on screen, I was blown away. That's one of the best like practical effects that I've seen in any movie.
Great use of practical and
that's his thing. Is I feel like Del Toro is one of the best working directors right now to work with practical effects.
Right. But that being said, Orson Welles did make what is considered to be like the first or second greatest movie of all time.
His movie is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane is 30 years ahead of the movie. Like, he was so far into the future that when we look back at it now, we can't even tell what year it's from. Like, it feels like it could have been made now.
That's
like,
fair.
Honestly, and I don't mean any disrespect for Guillermo del Toro, but outside of maybe Pan's Labyrinth, I think his movies are going to be really forgettable. I think in 20 years, Shape of Water is going to be like laughable that won an Oscar.
Well,
I don't know about that. And I would say even with the Hellboy movies, a lot of people are still unsure about the one that's coming out right now just because of the two that he made and just how different those were compared to other superhero movies, or even other movies that he's made, because that's...
So what it sounds like it's down to me, because you got your mind made up, John, about Orson Welles, and Jack, you want to go with...
I love Del Toro. I can't wait for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that comes out later this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be awesome.
Listen.
I think it's going to be awesome too, actually.
Del Toro...
if that movie had come out, I might have picked Del Toro.
Del Toro's a great director, okay? He's really good. Did
you guys ever see the movie Mama? With Jessica Chastain and Nikolai Coster-Waldau?
No,
I didn't, Daddy.
It was really underrated, I thought. It had an interesting premise to it, and it wasn't the best movie, but it also wasn't the worst either. I think.
Well, it's probably bad. So let's talk about okay. So Orson Welles, okay, zeroing in on Citizen Kane, okay, and the prestige that title brings along with it. I'm not one to be like, hey, like we're gonna get crucified if we pick Del Toro, because we've had upsets in the past, and
we've only had one upset. I fought hard for Edgar Wright, but you wouldn't let me.
Okay, we've only had one upset so far. All right.
Wait, no.
Zemeckis beat Tarantino.
Oh, good, because Tarantino's terrible.
Yeah, Tarantino more like terrible.
Terrible Tino. But Wes Anderson lost, and that was an upset in my mind.
Yeah,
he was a 2-seed.
He
was a 2-seed on the bracket.
That is an upset.
I'm a little mad.
Man,
about it,
I really don't.
Here's the thing, though: is I love Citizen Kane. Well, I really like it. I had to watch it for my film studies class. Never had seen it before. I thought it was really solid. Do I think it's the best movie of all time? It's hard to put any movie as the best of all time. I'd say it's probably in the top 100, but I don't know. To me, it still holds up, but with just different movies that there are out right now, it's hard to still say that that's the best. I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's the best movie of all time, but I would definitely say that I can't see a Del Toro movie that I would say even is on the same level as it. So maybe it's not the best movie of all time, and I think he'll definitely lose to Christopher Nolan, but I don't see how, in my mind, I don't see how Del Toro has something that would shock me enough, prove to me enough that I've seen that's better. Because Pan's Labyrinth was great, but it was great. It wasn't, in the top 50. I would say it's in the top 200.
Listen. Del Toro's good. However, I would just like to say that all his dark, sort of twisted, story takes, and also just what he likes to do when he's behind the camera and what he likes to put on screen, it's all typically, it's the same, I don't know if I want to say tone for each movie, but it's around, like, it seems like it's in the same genre almost. He has his own,
he has his own niche. Yeah, like, definitely. I see what you're saying.
So I'm going to go with Orson Welles because of the history,
Oh my gosh.
I have to, honestly, because
Abel would kill you guys.
He would kill us.
And he's not here, and he got Wes Anderson out of the bracket. So,
so I
revenge. Have literally, yeah. If James Wan was in here right now, we'd be getting him out, but he's already out. So listen.
It sucks because Del Toro is great, okay, and so it really is.
And he's still got such a future ahead of him.
Oh
too.
Yeah, he's got at least a dozen pictures ahead of him. So I honestly.
Yeah, and Orson Welles is dead. So.
Well, I mean.
He's got at least 0.
Orson Welles just has so many, flicks that run through the, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Like it's just, I don't know.
If we were living in Orson Welles' era and he hadn't made Citizen Kane, I still feel like if we were living right,
he'd still be regarded.
We'd
as one
still
of the
be
best.
talking about him as if he was Guillermo del Toro. And
if
he hadn't made Citizen Kane, right now we wouldn't be talking about him at all. So that's what I'm saying about Guillermo del Toro. I think in 60 years, when people are still talking about Citizen Kane and Orson Welles, people won't be talking about Guillermo del Toro in a significant light.
Right.
So I can't believe Orson Welles is moving on.
Orson Welles is moving on.
Orson Welles is moving. That might be an upset.
That's not an upset.
I don't know. It might be.
Literally nobody.
I had him in my final 4.
Yeah, nobody in the world would view that as an upset besides you, Jack, and Abel.
My dad had him winning.
I like. Anyway.
Yeah, but Jack. No.
Whatever. Anyway, moving on. This next round maybe one of the toughest matches in this entire tournament. It's Tim Burton versus Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh my gosh, Abel would be so mad that they are playing in the first round.
Look, this isn't fair. It really isn't, because Tim Burton is.
Blame him then. He's the one who made the bracket.
Yeah, that's just. But the reason why he did that way is because he wanted to kick out Tim Burton right away and like slap it in my face because he loves Alfonso, which I do too, which sucks.
Wait, who?
Because
me?
what? No.
John made the bracket.
Oh,
I made the
you
bracket.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't care about either
were
of them.
talking about Abel.
Honestly, I don't know either of them well enough to seed them. Like, I know Cuarón, I know a few movies, and I know a few movies from Tim Burton, but neither of them like stand out in my face.
Okay, well, one. Let's think about this real fast.
Real
okay?
quick, I just want to point out, I was watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the other day,
Yeah.
and that movie gets way too much hate.
That movie is amazing.
That movie is
good.
great.
Well, it's not amazing, but it's good.
That
It's
movie
a
is
great.
great.
It's a great reboot. You know why? Because it didn't try too hard to be the original.
yeah.
It was its own
And
thing.
Johnny Depp is a great, it's
Yeah.
like Gene Wilder, okay? You're not going to top Gene Wilder's performance. So what do? You get a different, wacky take with Johnny Depp, and it works.
He made him
okay?
a completely different character,
Yeah,
which was so
exactly.
smart. Because if
Oh,
he would have
yeah.
made him the same guy, it'd have been like, oh, this is not a good Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
But it's like
exactly.
Johnny Depp's like not the same person at all. And they didn't make the focus on Johnny Depp this time or Gene Wilder this time. They made it on, Charlie. Which
Yeah.
I think was a good call because, when you have a second character that's Johnny Depp, like when he's your second guy, then, you've got a good movie.
Yeah. But I would also like to point out that I feel like Alfonso Cuarón his movies have some of the best cinematography going on.
I don't like this one because Tim Burton, personally, just because of his body of work and like the different stuff he's made that are some of my favorite films. Now, look, I'm not trying to like eagle eye this here and be like, oh well, Alfonso Cuarón is a better director than Tim Burton. What I'm just trying to say is that I think Alfonso is craftier with the
Sure.
camera, and I think if Tim Burton just, I just love his personality. I love, a lot of his films and stuff. So that's my personal favorite. Now, if I was looking at this from a purely objective, cinematic, artsy, type deal, I think I would make the argument that Alfonso is more refined in his I don't know what I'm trying to say. His Jesus Christ.
I get what you're saying.
No, he's more he's better at making the entire picture overall come together into a piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is
love
way better than it
I
even.
love it.
It's not even close. It's the best Harry Potter movie. It's not even close. Some people are like,
That
oh,
and Deathly Hallows Part 2.
no.
They're
no,
neck and neck, I would say.
No.
Part 2?
People like to make arguments for The Goblet of Fire and Deathly Hallows Part 2. And those are the two ones that people make arguments for, okay? It's not close, people. If you pay attention, the attention to detail in The Prisoner of Azkaban is absolutely absurd. It's just his use of the time symbol, okay, we could just go on forever and
Sure.
ever talking about the different devices that he uses in the movie, but the movie's a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
It's
without a doubt. I
not
love
just
it.
for being a Harry Potter movie. It's a film masterpiece.
It has some of John Williams' best work, too.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is great it's perfect for that movie. And then also what else? Gravity is one I want to talk
Gravity,
about. It was
yeah.
a great one, and Great Expectations is one of my. I think it's underrated. I don't think it's talked about enough because.
Expectation.
Yeah, Great Expectations.
Ooh.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, that movie's not good. I've seen that movie. I think that movie's really bad. It got a 37 on Rotten Tomatoes. Not just saying that movie, the rating on Rotten Tomatoes
I
is
personally like that
Yeah.
movie. I'm a huge fan of. I'm more when I watch that movie. The acting performances in the film is what I like. I like the relationships between the characters. It was relatable for me.
I think the acting's good and the directing's pretty good. The story is super weak, and I don't know if he did the story, but the story is it's skin level deep.
I love Charles Dickens. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I love Charles Dickens, and that movie had kind of a big impact on me when I was a kid. I watched the movie when I was a kid, and so it was one of those first kind of mature movies that I actually watched.
Yeah.
When I was little. And so I like it for I don't know. it was his early work, early stages of, his directing career.
Yep.
This is so hard though. I'm not gonna vote against. I'm not gonna vote against Tim Burton. Okay.
I feel like
I think I'm gonna go with Burton as well, just because of his Batman movies as well. Personally, I feel like the Keaton Batman movies are some of the best. I love Keaton Batman. He's my favorite Batman. There's just something about that where we talked about the soundtrack for Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban. The soundtrack for both Burton Batman movies are, I feel, just as timeless.
And Tim Burton, his use of Danny Elfman. Okay, that is
a perfect pairing. That's like,
oh my gosh,
that's like Nolan and Zimmer.
Yeah, exactly, right there.
Or
Yeah,
Spielberg and Williams.
I can't really throw my hat in on this ring because I don't know Kieran enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely say I've seen Burton movies. I think Burton's a interesting, if not great, director. So, and I don't know Kieran enough. I know I've heard Gravity's a good movie. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things, but I would probably... I mean, my vote does not count in this race, but I would probably say Burton, too.
So are we going with Tim Burton?
Yeah, I guess
Tim Burton moves on.
And again, you're going to get crucified by the,
By who?
Abel.
By Abel, probably.
Hamza, I don't think Hamza cares.
Anybody who acts... You know what I'm talking about. All the film school dropouts are going to be like...
You mean all the guys who make video essays in their basements?
The video essay
Exactly.
guys will tear us apart.
They don't matter. They don't count.
You're right.
Moving on.
We'll see Alfonso again in the losers bracket.
Because they would already hate us.
I feel like Alfonso could go far in the.
Yeah, he'll probably
totally.
see Wes late in the.
Oh yeah.
If I'm here, okay. So I do want to ask though, why does Wes get so much hate? Because he's made.
He didn't get any hate. We love Wes Anderson.
Right.
The thing is that Mel Brooks for me and Jack is kind of like a personal
Spaceballs is one of my favorite movies.
We like to jerk him off.
Mel Brooks is great.
That's you. I don't do that. That's
okay.
That's
Well,
just you.
that's me.
Mel Brooks is great. Wes Anderson has I shouldn't have put Mel Brooks as a 7. That was a mistake.
That's all your fault, buddy.
Kieran and Mel Brooks both should not have been as low seated as they were. And Tarantino should not have been as high-seated as he was. But I feel like I would get a lot of crap if I didn't put Tarantino in the seat.
You definitely would have.
Yeah, I feel like
probably.
I feel like Tarantino, in my opinion, would be an 8.
I would just like to say that Quentin Tarantino is so ugly that he probably just should have gotten a lower seed just because of that. We should have been like, well, he would be like a 2 or a 3, but I mean, he's just freaking ugly as hell. So I think we just need to give him like a 4 or 5, 6. You know?
Have you guys seen the BoJack Horseman tarantula version of Tarantino?
No.
They make him as ugly as possible, and I feel like the BoJack Horseman creator just hates Tarantino.
I mean,
they make him so ugly.
Dude, he's so ugly. Anyway, let's go.
Let's move on to the next round. This is a round that I'm going to be fighting my heart out for.
Okay.
It's Martin Scorsese versus Catherine Bigelow.
Okay, no, Scorsese wins. This isn't even a discussion. Kevin, Kevin, just throw your hat over here and let's get this over with.
No, man. No.
Whoa.
Point Break.
What has Catherine Bigelow done?
Point Break. Zero Dark 30. Hurt Locker. She's made some of the most solid action films.
I heard Hurt Locker in 2 movies I've never heard of.
You've never seen Point Break.
Point Break is really funny.
Okay, I haven't
Dude,
seen
Point Break is amazing.
It's a classic.
I am an FBI agent.
This is your freaking wake-up call, man. Yeah, it's a classic, okay?
Right,
it's a classic. But, what? Over James? No.
Over Martin Scorsese.
I'm going to admit it. I don't like Scorsese. I don't like Scorsese.
Oh, Martin Scorsese? Okay. No. What?
Yeah. I don't like Scorsese.
You don't like Scorsese?
Not really.
What do you mean you don't like Scorsese? What does that mean?
His movies just aren't my thing.
Okay, well, that's a bad opinion. So we're just going to go with Marty. We're going to go with Marty, and we're going to move on.
No
Dude,
way.
The Goodfellas is one of the best movies of all time.
Goodfellas, Taxi Driver.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Hugo. I mean,
oh my gosh, Hugo. I didn't even realize he made Hugo.
Yeah, who?
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me? This director, people, come on. No. We can't.
I can't let. No.
He can cross over. He's so diverse. He's a great director. We can't. No, he's one of the greats.
This isn't fair.
Is he a 1 seed? Is he a 2 seed?
He's a 2 seed.
He's a 2 seed. Okay.
This isn't
he's a 2
fair.
seed. Yeah.
John, I hate you for this one more than any other one.
I just I can't think of someone to switch seeds with Catherine Bigelow. I was thinking about it. I was like, she's a 7.
But she's like the greatest female director.
I would like.
She really is.
I was gonna say I would like to make her a 4, but I couldn't think of one person who was a 4 or 5 besides the Russos and the Coens, which I probably she probably should have switched with the Russos.
Wait a second.
In hindsight.
Can I go back to something real fast? How did you know that Great Expectations had 37% on Rotten
I looked it
Tomatoes?
up.
I don't know why it took so long for me to process the fact that you just like said that, and
I was like
what?
looking
Okay.
things up
Anyway,
while
yeah.
I was talking because
Whatever.
I needed
This
information.
isn't fair.
This isn't
think
fair.
this
You
isn't
want to
fair.
put Bigelow
I could-
over freaking Marty Scorsese? No.
Because of Point Break? Hell yeah.
What?
Jack,
I
what are you even
love
talking about?
Point Break.
Jack, who's the 5 seed on the other side of this bracket?
Oh my gosh.
I love Point Break. Get off.
Who's
me.
the 4 and the 5 on the
Hey,
other side?
I love Point Break too. That movie's a
I
classic.
don't
It's
remember. I'd have to look it up. Real
that
quick.
movie's a cult.
Yeah,
That
I
movie's-
didn't-
let's,
put
let's figure out
numbers.
what the 4 and 5 is because I know who that would be. I mean, I know where that would place in the bracket.
it doesn't matter. Martin Scorsese wins.
I agree, but I want to see if I can give Catherine Bigelow a shout out and at least say that she was better than the 4 and the 5.
Okay.
4 was the Russos. 5
No, not
was...
on the lower part.
Oh,
on the lower
our-
part of this side, because the
I
Russos.
still
and the
can't
Coen-
believe we had the Russos in.
Did they win?
4
No.
was...
Cohen's won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
4
good.
was Lee Unkrich.
Mm.
5 was Ridley Scott.
Yeah, she couldn't trade with either of those guys. To be honest, I just
We're
could.
just gonna let the best female director of all time just go out like that.
I don't know where else she could fit in. She was a tough call. I don't have enough of a frame on her movies, and you put me 100% in charge. So this one is your fault. You could have edited that. I showed you the bracket. You
Okay.
could have
To
told
be
me to change it.
fair,
I sent the bracket. I said if you guys want to make any changes.
I could have give some advice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter at this point
I
because
c-
Marty Scorsese is better than.
I hate you
Catherine
all.
Bigelow.
Hey, and
I
we
can't
also
believe that I lost both Edgar Wright and Catherine Bigelow now.
you
I
lost
hate-
Kieran.
What did you
too.
think was gonna happen? What did you think was gonna happen, Jack?
You
I thought John would be
Did
on
you
my
read
side.
the
I honest to
thing?
God thought John would be on my
You
side.
thought he was gonna be on your side about.
I was hoping
Martin
for Abel
Scorsese?
to. I was hoping Abel would be here because he would have been on my
In
side.
my personal bracket, I have Scorsese losing to Orson Welles. So there's just, I mean, I have him going to that Elite Eight. I mean, he's got a big belt. He's got a heavy belt.
He's got a big belly.
He's got a big belly.
He's got a big belly.
He's cute. He looks like the dad in. He looks like a dad.
He's got a great ass.
He's got a great ass.
Well,
We're going to the next one. Let's go.
I'll throw.
I would be lying if I said that I wasn't broken.
We're
by
gonna
that.
do a remaster next year at the same time. We'll do a director's
hey,
remaster.
every year we'll do a new one of these. It's March Madness every
and
single
I'll
year.
give Bigelow a better.
Well,
it's April
Well,
Madness.
this next match doesn't even matter anyway at this point. It's James Cameron versus Patty Jenkins.
James Cameron. Move
Patty
on.
Jenkins.
James Cameron moves on.
Patty
James
Jenkins.
Cameron moves on. Sorry, Patty. You're good, but not good enough to beat James
Patty
Cameron.
Jenkins. I'm voting for Patty Jenkins.
Listen,
What
maybe-
movies has she made? I have no
Listen,
idea. I've never
Listen,
heard of
I'm
her.
gonna say
Wonder
something.
Woman.
Hey, and I'm
Patty
gonna say
Jenkins. She made Wonder Woman. Give me one movie that James Cameron made that's better than Wonder Woman.
I mean, you listen. In about 50 years, okay, when straight white males,
Cease to exist.
yeah, finally
When
don't
they-
have a monopoly on the world. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more diversity. We'll have a lot more women to talk about here. All right, but unfortunately, at this juncture in time, we just don't have a lot to go off of because Patty Jenkins in Wonder Woman, which is the greatest female superhero movie of all time. Sorry, Captain Marvel.
Dude,
And
Captain Marvel is not.
Catwoman
It doesn't
and-
even have a foot to stand on when you're talking about it versus Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
Like Captain Marvel is
Oh,
trash compared to that movie.
that is facts.
I mean, like that is DC beating Marvel for the first time in a while, where DC just destroyed Marvel. They just destroyed Marvel in that category. Female superheroes.
I'm not
man.
gonna
Wonder
lie.
That's for
Woman.
another day. Let's
Listen.
just.
Look,
Cameron,
Jack's not
Cameron
saying
moves
anything
on.
because he knows it's true, but he's
I'm not-
salty about it. He's
that's not
salty
true.
because his precious MCU is
Oh
getting.
hush! You sound like every Snyder bot there is on Twitter.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how you can even throw my name and his name in the same sentence when I despise that man and everything that he has done.
Can we pause
didn't like
the
Man of Steel?
podcast?
I did like Man of Steel.
Jay Clay seems upset. Can we pause the podcast? Are you actually fine? Because you seem really.
I'm good.
He's like distraught about this Bigelow thing.
I am,
But I don't think, even if Abel was here and I wasn't, I don't think Bigelow would have beat Scorsese.
I
She
don't know
wouldn't
about
have.
that.
No,
Abel would
would've.
have 100% been on my side.
No,
Abel would 100%, especially because if Abel was here, Del Toro would probably be in, and so would Alfonso Cuarón.
No.
Well, at least Del Toro would be.
I feel like he would have. He always says that Tim Burton's one of his faves. I don't think Cuarón would be alive. I think that this really came down to me placing Bigelow and Cuarón both badly.
Your fault.
It is my fault. But when you consider the directors that are in this bracket, it's hard to change these seats.
You're fired.
There are some really good. They're just some these are really good directors.
They are.
It's hard to seed them.
They are. You're still fired.
And Wes Anderson's my personal favorite, and me, I should have given him a 3 or a 4.
You should have been here on Friday.
My bad.
Should have picked up your phone.
I know. Hey man, I had work.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on after those two more or less disappointing results. I didn't care about the Patty Jenkins.
The women in the comments section. What the hell?
We literally.
I know.
We can't win.
We literally just eliminated both female directors we had on this list.
Well, I mean, blame Hollywood for
blame John for being misogynist.
No, blame Hollywood for being misogynist.
That's not even my fault. Like, it's not my fault that the women have not had a good chance.
Blame
I'm not
Hollywood.
saying. Yeah, I'm saying blame Hollywood. It's
blame
not
Hollywood
my fault.
for the past 100 years of just dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Cox.
Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to a possibly actually hard round.
Okay, good.
We got two directors who have created some of the greatest movies of all time. It's Lee Unkrich versus Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah.
I don't like this.
I don't like this.
I don't like this.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat this and say I like it. I do not like this.
I don't like this match. Why am I gonna do this? Why do I want to talk about like the greatest like animated film director of all time versus like
the greatest
guy who created Alien.
The guy who
not just Alien, but
Gladiator.
Like Gladiator.
Yeah, I mean, A Beautiful Mind. Wait,
no, that was Ron Howard.
That was
Ron Howard.
Hey,
who comes later, and I'm gonna use that to let him win.
Oh yeah,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Gotta win.
Let's stay Lee Unkrich versus Ridley Scott. Let's stay on this one for now.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw mine out here because I know you guys both have your strong opinions, but I definitely feel like Coco.
Careful what you say now.
Coco's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
It's the best Pixar movie in my opinion. Maybe besides like Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 and Monsters Inc. But Coco definitely stands on a high step of an amazing series of amazing movies by one amazing company. So for me, the best animated movie director of all time is not Unkrich, but he's definitely up there.
Who would you consider to be that?
Brad Bird.
I would definitely say for me the best animated movie director of all time is Wes Anderson. He made Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. I know they're both claymation.
That's a great point.
But they're still animation, so it still counts.
But they're still animation.
Yeah,
I definitely think
point.
though
Wes Anderson's really good. He's like top 5.
That's the reason I think Wes Anderson is so good is because he's done both.
That's right. That's right. But that's why I love Tim Burton so much.
That's true. Tim Burton and Wes Anderson both have this one stool.
That remember, Tim Burton didn't do Nightmare Before Christmas. He only wrote it.
Do you think I don't know that?
There's two people that I think that have done it well, and I think that's like those are two of the greatest directors of all time. But we can go to them later. I definitely think Unkrich is amazing, but Ridley Scott has too much on him to beat.
He's created just too many of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Alien and Gladiator are two of my favorite movies. When I went to Rome a few years ago, I wanted to go. We went to the Colosseum, and I wanted to go down there and recreate scenes. He also did Blade Runner.
I was gonna say,
and The Martian.
One thing everybody's gonna forget about Ridley Scott is probably the best cult classic of all time. Nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever thinks about it when you talk about movies. Blade Runner, that's undersought, classic, amazing movie.
Yeah, Blade Runner is great. I'm pretty sure, like in the past couple of years, especially with Blade Runner 2049, though, I'm pretty sure it's been mainstream pretty much at this point.
No, because Blade Runner 2049 had terrible box office sales.
It did, really sucked.
It did.
It did. But I'm talking about
Blade Runner has also had a lot of cuts.
Runner,
different cuts come out, which has kind of kept relevance for it.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's great. Okay, I'm not gonna vote against Ridley Scott. I don't like this matchup, but Ridley Scott is one of the all-time
I'm going
greats.
with Ridley Scott too.
I'm going with Ridley Scott.
But yeah, I don't know how I feel about I don't know, Blade Runner. Whenever I kind of mention that to anybody who loves sci-fi, they're always like, "That's like top 5." You know what I mean? Like of all time.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite sci-fi movie, but it's definitely a good one.
It's great.
Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite sci-fi. I definitely think Blade Runner 2049 is better. But the
I
original's
disagree,
amazing
but
too.
the original is really good.
It's really good, yeah.
just because of Rutger Hauer and his performance. You know, so
Yeah.
good. Oh my gosh, in that movie. Okay,
Yeah.
Like tears.
Like tears in the rain.
I've
So,
seen
yeah.
things you people wouldn't believe. Yeah. So
Well, yeah, Ridley Scott moves
Ridley
on.
Scott. I mean, honestly, the
I'd be
more I think
interested to
about it, the
see-
less of a hard pick it is.
I'd be interested now that he's not in this to see Leon Critch versus Wes Anderson, animator versus animator, in the losers tournament. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
I would definitely have. Do you want me to write up the losers bracket?
I mean,
Maybe.
someone can do it. Doesn't matter.
Maybe.
Oh, wow, ouch.
I'm gonna make sure that the matches are fair this time.
So-
Hey,
Someone will
the
figure
matches
it
were
out.
fair before.
Someone will figure it out. Cuphead.
Next up, we've got two of the hottest directors working right now. It's J.J. Abrams versus Jordan Peele.
Bro, we already talked about Patty Jenkins.
Listen, I wanna go with. Hey, Patty Jenkins. Yeah, I was good. So, yeah. Anyway, what was it Jordan Peele and
Abrams.
Abrams? Okay, so, well, I'm just gonna say this right now. Okay, I love Star Trek.
Oh, the Star Trek reboot is. I can quote
Star
the first
Trek-
one backwards and forwards.
Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, really, really good 1-2 punch. Really good. Love it. Love both of them.
It's a shame that he couldn't come back for
Beyond. Yeah, I know. It's annoying.
But
But
Justin Lin did a good job with that one, I feel.
I don't know about this one.
I'm
It's
just
hard because,
Jordan Peele's done 2 films.
but at the same time, like they've been considered two of the best modern, quote unquote, horror flicks to come out this decade.
I totally agree.
I know-
I mean, I'm just gonna say this right now. Like long term here, like you know what I'm saying. Like Jordan Peele, like you know by
He's
a
gonna
mile.
he's gonna rule
By
Hollywood.
a mile, you know what I mean? He's like the next, like, over Hitchcock, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's too crazy to say. I mean,
don't-
the dude is, like, even, like, you know, he's even doing Twilight Zone. It's kind of funny. Like,
Did you watch the first episode of that? It's
No.
free. It's free on YouTube and it's phenomenal.
I don't know about Jordan Peele in the distance. He's gotten 2 really good movies. I don't know where the distance is going to be.
Here's
for
the
him.
thing, though, is he's extremely. His writing. I want to take a writing class from him, especially after Us. The writing in that movie is amazing because he wrote, directed, and produced that. See, I am sick today. I don't know why I showed up, but
yeah, you're just getting everybody sick, Jack.
yeah, I know.
Jeez, I got
Anyway,
work.
Anyway, yeah, I feel like he's just got a good sense as to how movies are supposed to be made because he doesn't go too much in, especially since he's kind of more or less ruling the horror genre right now. He's got a good sense as to how to properly do it. He doesn't go for all the cliches. He doesn't. He's got a comedy background, but he doesn't try and force the comedy down your throats in his movies, even though the comedy tends to land pretty well, I think. I just feel like he's got a really solid grasp on how he wants to direct and write things.
Right. Well, I'm just going to say this. I don't love, besides Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, I don't love any of J.J. Abrams' films.
And
Not
really?
even Force
Fallout,
Awakens.
Fallout for me
No.
is, I mean, Mission Impossible Fallout. I mean, is the best.
He
Mission
didn't do
Impossible.
Fallout. He did Rogue
He did,
Nation.
He did Fallout.
No, he didn't do any of them. He didn't. No.
No, he did Mission Impossible 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Brad Bird did.
Maybe he was.
He didn't
oh,
direct any of those.
Okay, yeah,
he did
was
3. I'm
he
pretty
was-
sure.
He was help on Fallout. I
I'm
guess.
pretty sure he did 3.
He was
did
just a
one of 'em.
producer.
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
You guys got to know your stuff, man. He did not direct these movies.
Hold on. No, he directed Mission Impossible 3.
Okay, so he directed Mission Impossible 3, which isn't very good. So,
What are you talking about?
what are you talking about?
Mission Impossible 3 is great. Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of the best villains in that franchise. But yeah, Star Trek Into Darkness, Super 8. I started watching, but I fell asleep. Just 'cause
Super
I
8
was
is not that
tired.
good.
That movie's bad. Yeah,
movie's not
I'm
that
gonna
good.
agree. I think
10 Cloverfield Lane, did he direct that or just produce it?
I think he just produced that.
shoot.
I think if we were to do this tournament next year, once we have seen episode 9 and see how he starts and finishes this Star Wars trilogy, that would really make or break it probably for him.
I just want to do Jordan Peele to upset him because Jordan Peele
agree.
has made 2 movies that are like, you know,
Considered the best.
they're
of-
considered. Well, I don't even know what considered even means. I mean, I just think, you know, I mean, they're just great. There's not anything else to,
Yeah.
I don't think writing and directing, like, I mean, Abrams, did he write Force Awakens? I don't even know.
He didn't. There's the book writer she wrote a couple books about the after Star Wars, and then they ended up picking her up to write 7, 8, and 9. Except I think 8 was completely changed by Rian Johnson.
Lawrence Kasdan, who's been
Well, I knew Lawrence
attached
Kasdan
to-
was doing the screenplay. I don't think he did any of this. Did he do the story? I just thought he was doing the screenplay.
It was written by Force Awakens was written by Lawrence Kasdan, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Arndt.
We're gonna have to see
Okay.
how JJ bails out Rian Johnson for that terrible
Okay.
atrocity
Hey,
that was 8.
stop it. Stop it. You stop it right there. Jordan Peele moves on. We're not talking about this anymore.
All right, we're not talking about this anymore. But The Last Jedi is a bad Star Wars film.
That's
It is
a
a.
lie.
It is a good.
It's worse than the Phantom Menace.
It is a good film, but it is a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree.
moving
That's
on.
for another day.
That's for another day. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, we're into our I am sorry, guys.
You are sick, and you need to never come
Get
back
that
on the show
cock
ever
out of your
again.
throat.
Anyway, we're into our last round today, and we have two solid directors with it. We've got Ron Howard versus Sergio Leone.
Easy.
It's Sergio Leone,
Ooh.
not Leone.
I disagree. I love Ron Howard. I think
Howard.
he's one of the best directors we've got.
Oh,
going
I
today.
was just correcting your.
Oh, he was
pronunciation.
correcting the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it?
It's Sergio Leone, not Leone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, anyway.
Sergio.
I gotta go with
Leone.
Ron Howard just because A Beautiful Mind made me cry. Any movie that makes me cry, I immediately give it a 10 out of 10.
Also,
So-
Solo is very underrated.
It is extremely underrated.
So-
to be and how he bailed out that movie. That movie was so bad before he got his hands on it, and you can see the remnants of the bad movie that was being made, and you can see how he saved it.
That's fair.
If you watch the movie multiple times, it's just amazing how Ron Howard grabbed this trash heap and said, "All right, let's at least make it a decent movie instead of this like literal garbage that they're gonna make."
Ron Howard is great. He's one of my favorite directors of all time, for sure.
Yeah.
Because of
I do also love Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. I do like those two movies as well.
well, I think those are interesting too, and I think that also plays into his range. I kind of think he can go back and forth between adventure and between thrillers and stuff like that. And
He did Willow.
I know he did.
He did Apollo 13.
I know. I just said he was one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
The thing is that Sergio Leone. I love Sergio. I just don't know. Once Upon a Time in the West isn't just like my favorite Western. That movie is like one of my favorite movies of all time too. So this is really hard for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
For me, I'm gonna go with Ron Howard.
I have to go with Ron Howard. I mean, it's
Okay,
just,
well, there's no
it's-
point in talking about it because Ron Howard wins, but that's really hard. I
yeah.
love both those directors.
It's too much of a Ron Howard's too much of a king of the industry. Like,
He's got diversity. I think he's got diversity in his movies
And-
as well.
and he was Opie and Andy Griffith.
That's true.
What a guy.
Well,
What
plus
a
his
guy.
daughter Bryce Dallas Howard is really hot. So-
That's also true.
I disagree, but
What?
I don't think
What?
she's that attractive.
What?
But we can talk.
What?
Yeah, well, you're just a
What?
misogynist piece of crap.
No, I think Chris. I think.
Oh, you don't think she's hot? You're
I
misogynist.
think Chris Pratt is. No, I think if I thought she was hot, I'd be a misogynist.
That's not.
I mean,
no.
I don't
What?
know. Never mind.
What?
Never mind. Thinking she hot, thinking she's not hot, does not make me a misogynist.
I know. I'm
I do
kidding.
think.
We're kidding.
I do think that Chris Pratt was way out of her league in Jurassic World.
I think Chris Pratt is pretty
Pratt
pretty
is-
hot.
I think
too.
he's
Yeah,
hot.
Chris Pratt
No,
is hot.
Chris Pratt's pretty hot. I
Okay, let's
mean,
just talk real quick. Chris Pratt, what movie is he the hottest in?
He's definitely
Ooh.
hottest in Guardians.
Yeah, I
1.
would agree. He's-
Guardians 1.
That
Hold on, I gotta think
mustache.
about this. I
That,
gotta
think about
that
this.
little
Hold on,
pedo
I
gotta think
stash.
about this.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's what I was trying.
He
I'm
pulls
gonna
off
go
the
with,
pedo
I'm gonna go with
stash.
the Lego movie.
What?
Oh yeah,
What? Huh?
yeah. That he's got.
No, I'm
he's
kidding. No, but I would probably.
I got a stack of Lego bricks when I see Lego. Chris Pratt.
Emmett. Emmett.
Well, I guess Ron Howard moves on.
Yeah, Ron Howard
Yeah.
moves on, and Chris Pratt has a great ass.
Can we talk
so-
about the Sweet 16? Like literally just talk about who it is now.
All right,
'Cause I
yeah,
wanna hear
yeah.
it.
Let's
yeah,
talk
let's-
about the Sweet 16
let me-
real fast.
Yeah, let me go ahead and list down who we've got for moving forward.
Yeah.
We have Steven Spielberg,
Yep.
the Coen brothers,
So Steven Spielberg versus the Coen
Mm-hmm.
brothers.
Ooh.
Robert Zemeckis versus Mel Brooks,
Oh,
that's easy.
Yeah, that's. I don't know.
Alfred Hitchcock versus Francis Ford Coppola,
Oh my gosh,
Dude, I told you
what?
this bracket is just—it's a tough bracket.
Dude,
like
this
it's
sucks.
so hard.
This sucks.
Akira Kurosawa versus Stanley Kubrick.
Oh.
Then we're gonna have Chris Nolan versus Orson Welles. Tim Burton versus Martin Scorsese.
Oh my god.
James Cameron versus Ridley Scott. Alien versus Aliens.
Actually, that's why I did that.
Oh, really?
I put them in the same quadrant. So, like, I didn't want to put them in the first match.
Sure.
Obviously, you saw the George Lucas versus Kurosawa thing. There was a purposeful theme with that, and then there was a purposeful theme with those two meeting, and then obviously the Russos and the Coens. It's the brothers.
Yeah. And finally, Jordan Peele versus Ron Howard. That's going to be our Sweet 16. Going forward, I mentioned it in part 1 of the Best Director tournament. From here on out, for now until we get to, I think we said the Final Four, Kevin?
Yeah.
Until we get to the Final Four, we're only going to do like a match or two per podcast, and then we'll go into more topics like we've been doing beforehand. That way we can keep the tournament going for a while. It's like a recurring series that we've got.
We should do 2 winners, 2 losers.
What do you mean?
2 matches from the winners bracket, 2 matches from the losers.
Yeah.
Or 1 from each.
Well, I think we shouldn't even do the losers bracket until after this. That way we don't have too much going.
Well, I think that we should have it.
I think that we should just do the losers bracket as its own episode.
Oh, okay. I do think we should do the losers bracket so that when you get out, you get put in the losers bracket, so that like you don't just have the guys who lost now. Like every director who loses moves to the losers bracket. I can write that up.
Sure. Go ahead and do that. So yeah, that's going to be our Sweet 16 going forward. And just be sure to follow along with that. But that's going to wrap up today's episode of the Screenmen Society Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to keep up with this tournament as we go along. You can do that by liking our Facebook page or following us on Twitter at ScreammenSoc. You can also follow the competition by checking out our website. Just head on over to www.thesocietyofscreammen.com. Before we go, is there anything that you guys want to say or plug?
You know, when there's a street and you gotta walk down it and you're a duck, you should go to Waddle Gaming. Screw you.
When can we expect your next stream?
Okay.
You're gonna see another video before you see another stream. That's for sure.
All right, cool. Well, with that, I've been your host, Jack Clayton. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon.